Welcome back to HM&E Review Things. Homing just came back from a work trip to London.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's why Paddington is here. And that's not Paddington. It is.
They're in different outfits.
I see. Okay. And that's why the Paddington Bears are here. He just came back from London where he watched
Back to the Future, the musical.
Back to the Future, the musical. I know nothing about this, so I'm going to be asking Homing some questions, and he can explain it to me and kind of his experiences. But obviously, Back to the Future, super iconic 80s classic movie.
Yeah, well, when I go to London, every time I do go to find tickets for musicals, there's always last-minute tickets, usually on the day of or the day before.
Yeah.
And there's a big list from small plays to big musicals like Wicked and The Book of Mormon. And I just said, I want to watch a musical. I got an afternoon off. So the one that struck me was Back to the Future. I didn't even know they had a musical, number one. I didn't know it was playing in London, number two. So I went in. The prices were reasonable, so I got a show the next day at 3 p.m. on Sunday. And we got to watch Back to the Future, the musical.
Okay, so what overall impressions, or how do we do this?
Well, I was excited going in.
Of course.
Because... All right, we're about to watch Back to the Future in London, England at the Adelphi Theatre. George, you excited?
I'm excited, man. Let's see what's all about, the hype.
Yeah, we thought we'd catch an afternoon show. We, obviously can't take video footage in the theater after the show starts, so we'll check out with you later. But I predict good things. A lot of, raving reviews about this musical. So, I'm excited about it. We'll check in with you later. I want to see how it goes. I guess it is what we know it's going to be. It's going to be a kind of zany, fun musical based on the movie.
Right.
So
and it sticks generally pretty closely with the story.
It does, but I guess what happened was when I came out of it, I kind of felt this question, which was, not why was it made, but is this the best type of thing to adapt to a musical?
Right.
So out of theater reaction, my friend George is with me. Well, what do you think, George? You've seen the movie.
I thought overall it was pretty good. They could have done some better parts stitching things together, but it was highly entertaining. Worth watching.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I think everybody was on their feet at the end. It's that type of musical, so it's going to be good. I'll review it in depth. Back at the hotel was a little bit quieter. I don't know if I'm framing it correctly, but
yeah.
But because it's a movie on film, to translate it to a musical, there's quite a few jumps that you got to make. Number one, it's a musical, so you gotta have good music, right? And I know Back to the Future is known for two songs, The Power of Love and Back in Time, and the score. But that's not a musical.
No.
You gotta add songs. Number two, everything on film that you see, you're producing for stage, and not everything you can capture on a stage. So Back to the Future, the musical.
Okay, so... overall, it seemed maybe a bit disjointed, or it just didn't feel right.
My friend George went with me, and he felt like the middle part was stitched together not as good as you think it could be. Now, interestingly enough, I did watch Back to the Future on the plane ride home because I couldn't find a really good movie to watch, and I was like, let me compare the two.
Yeah,
I think primarily, number one, I would say the songs are not that memorable in this musical. I can't even tell you all the songs. They're kind of talking they're using the songs to tell the story.
Yep.
So the songs are not that memorable. And number two, I think it just doesn't translate the best for a musical.
Like the music was written by, I'm looking it up here, the music was written by Alan Silvestri, who did compose the music for the original film series. It's unfortunate that you say the music, because, when I think musical, there are two main kind of things that I'm looking for. Obviously, the music, which you're saying wasn't great, and the other kind of is the visuals, the set design, the costumes, and how creative they are with some of that. Because some musicals are real. Like, I'm blown away by some of that. How is that?
Okay, so the music, I would say, is not that great, but the set design is amazing. Yeah. Right? The DeLorean looks amazing. They had an actual DeLorean? They had a DeLorean, and it moves.
Okay.
And so it's sort of, the positive is that you're watching, you're thinking the whole time, how are they going to make this scene that I know is coming up?
Yeah.
And some of it's executed really well. Like at the end, the DeLorean actually flies.
Okay.
Right? Somehow they got some, and it doesn't look like there's like a string or whatever. It flies and even turns.
Okay.
Everybody's on their feet, and it's really exciting. But the other problem is that it was much the same feeling as when I was watching the Lion King musical. You're anticipating the lines, the delivery, the timing, and it sort of takes away from the experience of watching something like when I watched Wicked for the first time, everything was new to me, right? All the musicals that you and I love, a lot of that stuff's totally new, and wow, you get blown away by.
Sure.
Because you're not comparing in your mind. The problem with this musical is everything they're doing, you are comparing to the original, including how they deliver the lines, if the line was not delivered, or did they change a plot element? They did change a few plot elements because of I don't know what reason.
Right.
So, and I can give you examples of that, which kind of I felt like I know that probably there's a reason for them taking it out, but it adds so much to the movie that I'm thinking, why would you take that out? So
okay. So actually, we talked about this briefly. We hit on this briefly in our Top Gun Maverick review. Is this maybe an attempt to rekindle or reintroduce this to maybe a younger audience that hasn't seen the original?
Great point. I'll give you a story. I think I would say everybody that really wants to watch it would be someone who's seen the movie.
Yeah.
But I did see a young lady in front of me, and during the intermission, she was TikToking, but not about the musical. She was just taking photos of her face.
Yeah.
She didn't seem that interested. I mean, it seemed like she was just like there because her mom dragged her.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the mom and the dad are really excited, right? So it's a sort of the same thing here. I felt that you probably wouldn't watch it unless I know what Back to the Future is, right? So that's sort of the inherent issue with this.
So this maybe falls into the why was this made?
A little bit, but not in a really nasty way. Like, this is so bad. It's done well,
right?
But again, they're missing some parts of this. Like, I would say the lead actor, who's the original actor, because it's so new, he does a great job. He sounds like Marty. Okay. In terms of his speaking voice and his acting.
Right.
The Doc Brown character, he's a little bit more zany than even Doc Brown. But I think that's probably a choice because he needs to add something beyond that. Doing it beat for beat. Because they're doing all the lines from Back to the Future. Right. And they're singing some of the lines.
Yeah, they have to do that a lot in adapting movies into musicals. The one that comes to mind is Aladdin. Right. And obviously, Robin Williams did a job that cannot be replicated at all as the genie. And so the original actor that did the genie, James Monroe Iglehart, kind of took it in a kind of different way, and you kind of have to do it slightly differently.
Right, but the difference is Aladdin and Lion King have strong musical scores and singing.
Yes.
This one, they just add some music.
Yeah.
And they do...
How many... there was a good amount of songs? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot of songs, but and there's the Back to the Future theme, of course. And they do sing Power of Love, and they do sing Back in Time, and at the end is everybody's clapping and on their feet. But really, the songs are quite forgettable. I don't remember any of them.
Okay.
Yeah, which is sort of the backbone of a musical. So
Right. So, but overall, a feel good musical.
You're gonna leave thinking that was a feel good musical. Obviously, the Back to the Future story itself is one. One thing I did think of though is sort of the overall thinking behind the Back to the Future for today's time, which is you're making. When Back to the Future was released in 1985, people understood it because you were in this era, and then you go back into your parents' day in 1955.
Right.
But today, it's another 30 years have passed. So what you're seeing on stage is 1985. So anybody that didn't grow up in that era, like that's much younger than us, and they're in their 20s or 50, if you're 15 years old, it's almost like when we were watching Back to the Future and thinking about 1945, 1955,
so interesting. Could they have adapted the musical so that it was present time and they jumped back to the 80s?
I think that would have been the smarter
That would have
move.
been interesting, yeah.
To tell the story of Marty's son, for example. Because right now, the audience is taken back to an era, like they're taken back immediately to an era they don't recognize, and then further back to 1955. They don't even recognize that at all.
Sure.
So that's what I kind of feel about this story. There was a little bit of a big jump.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, they did cut out, I would at least say, two things that so iconic that I'm not sure why they cut it out. The first is the reason for him going back in time is not because terrorists shot the Doc.
Brown, yep.
But he got poisoned. And so Marty jumps in the car and tries to find help.
Okay.
So, I mean, to me, it's not as compelling
Okay.
of a reason.
Okay.
Right? That's sort of a
Yeah.
weird choice. Now, I don't know, maybe because they couldn't get, they didn't want to get another car in the scene, or maybe they didn't want to be stereotypical with the terrorists, so they got rid of it. So he gets poisoned and he falls on the ground, and he's like, get help, Marty, and Marty goes.
Why would going back in, okay, anyway.
He drives the car and he doesn't realize he's hitting 88.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
I see.
you know, it's a little bit less believable,
yes, okay,
right?
Sure. Okay.
The second thing that at least I noticed missing was that whole chase scene between him and Biff in the town square, which is like one of the most the most iconic scenes. They write that out and they combine it with a school scene.
Okay.
So the tension between him and Biff is just not there, and there are a lot of choices like that I'm not quite sure why they took out. And
but Biff the character was, I mean, in the movie, Biff the character is like kind of very basic stereotype bully of the 80s.
Yeah, and they do that.
It's still the same?
It's the same.
Okay.
Now, everything they try to go beat for beat for as much as possible, and some of it's really quite creative how they do it. But again, you know, it's a question of should have this been the story they should have adapted to a musical, or should they have told a brand new tale and sort of made it their own, made for stage, which is totally different than copying it from a movie. So overall, that's what I thought.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think they had an opportunity to either reimagine it or tell the next story kind of with the same beats, and they didn't. And maybe I'm sensing that it suffers a little bit because of it. Yeah. Okay, do you have a final grade for Back to the Future, the musical?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it maybe a B+.
Oh, okay.
It's enjoyable. You're going to walk out, everybody was on their feet clapping at the end. They hit the beats of what you're looking for in generally a musical. But because it's the IP of Back to the Future, there's just some things that don't make sense.
That's a very high mark, because I would think for a grade of a B+, one of the kind of measuring sticks I have of how good a musical is whether you listen to the soundtrack afterwards.
Okay, well then maybe I have to decrease my grade to a B, or B. I don't think it's not really C.
Yeah.
But you know what? What musical do you really think is like a C? I just don't think there's too many, because they produce it well enough that most people say, I paid a lot of money for this. Yeah. I expect a good time, right?
That's true.
So I just don't know. Maybe the musical scoring system is a bit different.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll walk out of any musical saying, man, that's a D-.
Yeah.
Like the singing is so off.
Right.
The stage falling apart. You don't say that kind of stuff, right? Generally it's done well.
Right.
But maybe it didn't appeal to your taste, or maybe the music you didn't resonate with the music, or does it resonate with other people?
And I think maybe part of that is because we're watching kind of, the hit musicals, the bigger musicals.
That's right. Yeah.
We're not seeing the off-Broadway stuff.
You're watching the Hamiltons,
30-person theater.
You're watching the Wickeds, which are all A's or A pluses, right?
Even 4 or 5 Elphabas in, it's still someone really good, even though it's not.
Exactly.
Idina Menzel,
the quality is always going to be up there in terms of the singing.
So okay, B+.
Yeah, I'll give it a B+.
All right. Well, if you're ever in London, or to our viewers of this channel who are in London, thank you for watching. Check it out, I guess. Check it out.
It's going to probably come to Toronto. London is, I think, their first showing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll probably go to New York and make the tour.
Right. Okay. Well, if you are, check that out and let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about what we think. Until next episode, keep watching things.
And please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much.